Hello, this is Sondra Oster Baras bringing you a few words of Bible from the heart of Biblical Israel. This week's Torah portion is Ki Tisa. It actually begins with the commandment to bring the half a shekel piece to the temple, and this is something that will be used throughout history as an annual payment to help the temple with its upkeep and with whatever is needed for the public. But I want to focus on chapter 32, which of course is the chapter involving the golden calf. And the question always arises, what is going on here? We're talking about a people who just a few weeks earlier were personal eyewitnesses to revelation at Sinai. They heard God's voice in person. They saw they saw Moses go up into this cloud and God speaking to them, and what an amazing experience. And then of course Moses goes up and is staying up for 40 days and 40 nights, and the nation of Israel is getting impatient. Some of our commentaries say that there was a miscounting going on here, that Moses had said to them it would be 40 days and 40 nights, and somehow they miscounted. And so when they thought the 40 days and 40 nights was going to end, and Moses had not yet shown up, he was actually just supposed to come the next day, and so they lost confidence. Whether you go with that interpretation or you just say they're losing patience, it doesn't matter. In any case, it was clearly towards the end of Moses' stay up there, and the children of Israel decided, no, they need something. They build this golden calf. And one of the things that we see here, if we're trying to analyze what is really going on here, two things I think stick out. First of all, the chapter begins that they saw that Moses was delayed, and they're very concerned. And the first thing they said is, make us a God who will go before us, because this Moses, the man who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what happened to him. So in a way, they're looking for a Moses substitute. Now, who did they think Moses was? Did they think he was a god? Did they think he was a messenger of God? They clearly think he's some kind of supernatural, and there is something supernatural about the fact that he goes up to Mount Sinai to talk to God for 40 days and 40 nights. That is clearly very supernatural, although Moses himself remains a total human being. There's certain miraculous things about his relationship with God, but he is clearly a human being. But you can imagine from the eyes of the nation that would be quite confusing. Is this a man? Is he a god? And he's now disappeared. We need somebody else to lead us, okay? Now, there's clearly, they look around and they're not looking for another man. They're not saying to Aaron, hey, Aaron, you're his brother, you take over. They're looking for something supernatural. And there's actually a debate as to what the golden calf represented for them. Did it represent some kind of representation of God? Was it a god? It's kind of hard to believe that they really thought that the calf itself was a god. But they clearly were looking to create a graven image. They just heard the 10 commandments. They were creating a graven image as a representation of God. And that, of course, is really bad. Okay, so why were they doing this? Of course, and I think one of the things that is very important to understand, the children of Israel have just come out of Egypt. They have spent hundreds of years there as slaves. They have been immersed for generations in a completely pagan environment. Whether they themselves were pagan worshippers or not, it's unclear, but certainly they were influenced by this pagan worship. And therefore, they were very accustomed to this idea of being able to have a physical manifestation of God. Okay? And to them, therefore, it's very possible that Moses was a sort of physical manifestation of God. That's not true. That was a wrong conception of who Moses was. Moses was a man whom God selected as a prophet to bring, and as a leader, but he was a man. But it could be the nation of Israel didn't quite get that, okay, because they attributed to Moses supernatural powers that because he was involved in this exodus and this whole amazing miracle of departure from Egypt. But it's also very possible that the children of Israel need that physical manifestation. So what they ascribe to Moses, once he's gone, they need something else. They need, therefore, to build this golden calf. And researchers say that this golden calf, or a calf in general, was a very prominent idol form in Egypt. So it is an image that makes sense to them. from what they're used to and what they have grown with all these generations. Of course, that in itself is the essence of pagan worship, seeking something physical to represent God who is metaphysical. And the need that human beings have, and we see this all through the Bible. Today we don't have that need anymore. We have moved on. Okay, the desire for pagan worship is certainly in this form has been erased from us. Thank God. I think the Jewish sages say that God did us a favor and just removed it when He realized after the destruction of the first temple that this was this desire, this need for people to continue constantly to go back to the idols of the nations that surrounded us. This was a very negative influence, and God miraculously removed that desire from us. But certainly here we can see that a desire very, very much exists, this need for something physical. I think also it's very interesting to take a look at the gold, okay? The golden calf. Everything is gold. And we have here at the very beginning, everybody takes off their gold jewelry and their gold bracelets and all their gold, and their gold and the gold and the gold, they bring it together and then they melt the gold. And this is parallel, exactly parallel to what we read 2 weeks ago. Where God is commanding Moses, tell the nation of Israel to bring their gold, but also their silver and their skins and their fabrics and whatever. Okay, bring their gold. What? To build the tabernacle. And this is really a juxtaposition, the bringing of the gold for the tabernacle versus the bringing of the gold to the golden calf. Now, the commandment to bring the gold for the tabernacle had not yet been transmitted to the children of Israel because Moses is still up on the hill. Okay, and God has told him this, but Moses hasn't yet had a chance to command the nation, and they haven't yet gotten started in doing the stuff. That happens afterwards. But it's just such an ironic juxtaposition, and I think that this is part of really what was going on in the juxtaposition between the gold being used in the tabernacle and the gold being used in the golden calf. Because what God is saying in the tabernacle is, yes, of course, gold is beautiful, but we use gold for the glory of God, not to represent God. Okay? The ark, for example, the Ark of the Covenant. Ark of the Covenant is probably the holiest vessel in the tabernacle. And it is actually made of acacia wood, covered on the outside with gold, covered on the inside with gold, but the essence of it, the real way it's made, is wood. Okay? Gold isn't real. Gold is never the essence of anything. Gold is merely a decoration. Okay? The ark itself has no meaning. What's the meaning? It is where the 10 Commandments will be stored. That's what gives it its meaning, not the gold. And not only that, to ensure that no one will ever want to worship this ark itself, the ark is put behind a curtain in the Holy of Holies in a room where the nation of Israel will never enter and will never see. And only once a year, one person will be able to go into that room, and that is the high priest. And the high priest has to go in with complete purity of thought and mind. Otherwise, he will not come out alive. Okay? So this is how we use gold. This is how we worship God. And unfortunately, when the children of Israel took this gold and made the golden calf, they didn't understand at all what God was trying to tell them. Well, I can say they didn't learn it yet from God. But perhaps this is why God has this concept of a tabernacle to begin with, because they understand that people do need to use gold. People do need a physical place. But God wants to make sure it's going to be a physical place to meet a metaphysical God. There will never be a physical representation of God on this earth. And gold is to be used only to honor God, not to replace God. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
I hope you enjoyed that video. And we'd like to be sure you're getting all of our video content. So just click on the subscribe button below as well as on the notification bell. And that way you will have easy access to all our material. We look forward to staying in touch with you. God bless you and have a wonderful day.